So development, I think, that is quite important, and which is starting to gather some momentum actually throughout Africa, but particularly in Botswana, is that the research on large carnivores in general, is moving from the national parks and the protected areas out into the areas where the animals are actually problem animals. In Botswana, it is quite noticeable that along the borders of the protected areas, there are hotspots of conflict, especially with things like lions, which are quite mobile, and spotted hyenas. Further out, away from the protected areas, you have problems with resident populations of leopards and spotted hyenas. And in order to understand that, we really have to go out into those community areas and onto the commercial ranches to see what are the predators doing. And in fact, I've got a small-scale camera trapping program on one of the Heinefeld ranches running presently. And there's an amazingly high frequency of captures of large carnivores on the camera traps. And I've got one set of camera traps actually in a cattle kraal. And we regularly see spotted hyenas, wild dogs and leopards in that cattle kraal. They're coming and going in order to get water, and they're causing minimal problems with the cattle in the kraal. I think there's been one calf lost to a leopard in a period of 6 months. And we're seeing a large carnivore go in and out at least once a week. So the very presence of the carnivores in itself is not a problem. And this is an important thing. We're convincing the farmers that they don't need to kill every carnivore that they see, that they shouldn't do broadcast poisoning, for instance, because the majority of the carnivores are never going to cause them a problem. It should, in principle, be possible to identify, especially if we've got camera traps. There's an incredibly potent technology which is now available off the shelf. We can identify individual troublemakers and target remedial action at them. And that might be lethal control. That might turn out to be the most cost-effective and ecologically least impactful way of actually controlling, say, leopard depredation on calves, is you take out the one leopard that is killing calves and you leave the rest to get on with it. And that development can only take place in the areas where the animals are causing the problems, which is on the cattle ranches and in the communal areas where the people are herding goats and cattle. That is where we have to be to do the research on problem animals.